You best not be contemplating any evil deeds or some super dude from one of your favorite comic book games might break his foot off in your butt. Oh yeah, it's up next on Filter. Welcome to Filter, a great tasting, less filling weekly survey of the best in games, gadgets, movies, and music. I'm Diane Mizota, and this week we celebrate the 36th annual Comic-Con International with a survey of your favorite comic book games. So zip up that crime-fighting elastic tummy trimmer and join us as we kick off our countdown. Excelsior! Oh no, please tell me it's not Superman 64. Actually, it's your list of the top 10 web-slinging, shield-throwing, good deed-doing comic book games.
I think what makes a good comic book game is the ability to free roam in the environments.
You have to have good gameplay first and foremost above everything else.
I think it would be nice if they would use one of the comic book storylines for once instead of merging their own.
These moments are coming to life, Claude.
That's impossible.
The other Superman game they had for N64, that was a tanker.
You don't need tights to enjoy these geek-out games, but you don't get to kiss Kirsten Dunst either. At number 10 is the classic Spider-Man for the Super NES. Finally! Props to the old school.
Spider-Man was one of the first games for comic books that wasn't god-awful.
You know who else is a big Spider-Man fan? Freddie Prinze Jr. That's some cool company you run with. Back to Double Dragon, baby! Your pick for number 9 is the side-scrolling beat-em-up arcade classic Captain America and the Avengers.
You're on this big screen, and you had four joysticks for the 4 characters. It was just a lot of fun. And sure, the graphics were very cartoony, but that's what people were used to.
Captain America and I have so much in common. I'm a genetically modified superhost. Spidey's back with his old buddy Venom because Carnage is on the loose. Your number 8 pick is Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. Hope you kept your diapers on.
It was kind of one of those things where people were able to control Spider-Man and really feel like they were a part of the comic.
It's a Spidey-heavy countdown this week. All bow to the power of Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm so glad it was pure-hearted Peter Parker who got bitten by that radioactive spider and not, say, Saddam Hussein or Kim Jong-il. Megalomaniacal plots for world domination aside, I just do not want to see either one of those clowns in a unitard. But enough politics. There's still some stuff you haven't bought yet. Here's what's new in stores and on screen this week. Dude, why are they doing this to me? The first Bad News Bears was such a classic movie. So if you're up for $9 of disappointment, then check out the Bad News Bears remake starring Billy Bob Thornton in theaters Friday.
I know it stings a little bit, but it's worth it. Okay, here it comes. It's all right, kid. You had a helmet on. Imagine if you didn't.
Yo, let's some up! Okay, I'm really not that mad, but don't push me because I might have to blast a fool. The Anger Management Tour featuring Eminem and 50 Cent busts a cap in the following cities this week. July 28th at Smirnoff Music Center in Dallas, Texas, and July 29th at the Verizon Wireless Amphitheater in Selma, Texas. What happens when you give a kid with ADD too much Jolt Cola? He grows up to be professional stand-up comic Claude Stewart. Claude's brand new DVD, Claude Gone Wild, is out this week. Check out ClaudeStewart.com for ordering information and upcoming club dates.
I drive a crappy car. Right? The only thing worse about getting carjacked is having to explain to your jacker how to operate your piece of shit. Get out of the car! All right, dude, but can you come around? Because this door doesn't open.
Opening this week in theaters is the sci-fi fighter plane thriller Stealth, starring Jamie Foxx and Jessica Biel. After watching the previews, I predict this movie will be so stealthy, you won't see it when it goes straight to video. I'm pushing out! Would you like to win a crate of cool new DVDs? Even better, would you like to deface a picture of Filter's tech reporter Jonh Walsh? We would. Hello. Now you can kill two birds with one stone. We're looking for the best hip-hop Photoshop job. Visit g4tv.com/filter for details and rules, but do it some other time. We've got turtles who think they're people and a guy who thinks he's a bat when Filter returns after this. Spider-Man and Captain America scored big for the mighty Marvel multiverse early in our countdown, but cowabunga! Here comes a quartet of pizza-chomping, karate-kicking heroes on the half-shell to represent for the indie crowd. Cowabunga, dude! It's time to throw back some pizza and hang out with our number 7 finishers, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Fab Four are here to throw some half-shelled heroism into the arcade.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was definitely one of the better comic book games that I recall. The 3/4 view was a lot like Double Dragon, and they kidnap April, and you gotta go rescue her, and and of course, Shredder, Foot Clan, really cool.
Rats! The Foot Clan is at it again, and Dr. Scholl isn't going to be any help. This is a job for some turtles! Remember when your parents would ground you for throwing rocks over the fence at your neighbor, Mr. Wilson? Well, that's nothing compared to what our number 6 pick, the Punisher, would do to you.
Pretty fun game, actually. Very bloody, over the top. What was kind of cool was it had this mini games to it where you can interrogate bad guys, and the whole object was like to scare them into telling you stuff, and then you scare them by inflicting all this pain and suffering.
With so many sadistic ways to off people, he'll make you think twice before you tell a fib or swear at the dinner table.
Wondered if you'd have the guts to show up again. Your guts will be showing up all over this room, Castle.
Batman's one of those lucky guys who never had an awkward phase where he had bad acne and couldn't get a date. Like me. No! See for yourself in Batman Begins, it's at number 5.
Batman Begins is obviously a great concept for a game. I mean, the movie was brilliant. I loved the movie. Action-packed, cool Batmobile, cool Batman, great Bruce Wayne.
So what do you think? Does it come in black?
So the game is definitely something that will translate well to fans.
No, seriously, where does he get those wonderful toys? Well, pinch me if Batman Begins isn't just too good to be true. Now I can actually be Christian Bale. He was a non-playable character in Newsies for Xbox, and frankly, I think that's why that game sold so poorly. Bless you, Electronic Arts. Now, I wonder which brand of smartphone the Caped Crusader would have on his utility belt. You can debate that all you like on the forums at g4tv.com. But I'd rather hear from Andrew Hawn of G4 Labs in this week's Tech Toss-Up.
So you love your PDA, but you also love your cell phone. What you really need is a hybrid. We have two that are really great we want to show you. This is the Siemens SX66. Now, what's great about this is it has a nice big screen and a little QWERTY keyboard down here that's a membrane style. This phone also has a ton of wireless features. There's Bluetooth, there's Wi-Fi, and it's a quad-band phone, so you can travel pretty much anywhere in the world. But the big problem here is that it's so huge. It's excruciatingly large, and there's no camera. Now, the SX66 without service will run you about $500. This is the Trio 650, and it's super popular. It's got the best integration of form and function that I've ever seen in a PDA phone. There's basically one-handed functionality here, and you really don't need the stylus at all. It's got a great keyboard, it's got Bluetooth integrated, and there's a really solid camera on the back. But the problem here is that the Palm OS is just really old school. On the other hand, it's really easy to use, and there's an amazing array of software out there if you want to add to it. Now, the Trio 650 without service is also about $500. After using these guys for about 2 weeks, I love them both, but even though it's about a year old, the Trio 650 is still the gold standard.
Thank heaven the Trio was the winner. I could never bring myself to ask for that other name brand by name. It's just not ladylike. And speaking of awkward segues, here's a list of the top-selling Xbox titles this week at EB Games. Call your chiropractor. Burnout 3 crashes into our 10th spot this week. I've got a bat if you've got some balls. MVP Baseball 2005 swings into 9th. Connect the Force, Luke. Lego Star Wars ignites number 8. Hello, World War II ended like 60 years ago. Medal of Honor European Assault declares war on number 7. Drink up your oil. Juiced splashes number 6. Where exactly do you get a PhD in Doom? Fantastic Four stretches number 5. We don't want to meet your leader. Destroy All Humans zaps number 4. I'll take some hot coffee with my thug sandwich. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas runs over number 3. Aw, the squirrel talks naughty. Conquer Live and Reloaded swears up number 2. X marks the noob. Halo 2 multiplayer map pack hones the top spot this week. And when you aren't snapping up games, you're clicking around the internet, and bless your hearts sharing those links with us here at Filter. But listen, there are a few sites we've seen once too often, okay? Here's Jonh Walsh with a list of links we hope you never send in again.
Seriously, thank you, that's all. You know, when we first opened this Net to Know mailbox, my only thought was, gosh, I hope viewers send in their favorite links. But it's like something out of the monkey's paw. Be careful what you wish for, because there are some sites I just don't want to see anymore. Seriously, stop. At number 3 this week, with no fewer than 166 viewer submissions, HomestarRunner.com is, in case you just got electricity this week, a series of very funny Flash cartoons. Strong Bad is so cool you don't even know he's cool. He's more famous than Bugs, the bunny man. He don't send him in no more, okay? At number 2 this week, with 212 submissions, RedVersusBlue.com isn't the first machinima series to hit the web, but it certainly enjoyed the best buzz. In addition to a polygonal posse of catch-penny imitators, this series has even spawned a DVD release. And tilting the scales at a fat and sassy 309 submissions, RuneScape.com is a massively multi-user online role-playing game, or Mummerpig, where viewers like Michael Hatfield, Nathan Johnson, and Bobcat00 like to hang out and meet and chat with new friends, and presumably eviscerate their new pals with the game's dangerous array of medieval pointy things. Sounds like fun, but me, I'd like to chug NyQuil and listen to Rush 2112 over and over and over and over and over. And that, America, is more than you need to know.
While we're on the subject, John, there are a few things I never want to see again myself. Let's just say that thongs are not flattering on every figure and leave it at that, shall we? Send your favorite links to nettoknow@g4tv.com, and we'll be back with more of your favorite games, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Filter's countdown of your favorite comic book games. Now, I don't mean to brag, but I happen to have some mutant superpowers myself. For instance, I can accessorize like nobody's business. It kind of makes you wonder why the X-Men haven't called me yet. But bad judgment aside, they're your number 4 pick this week. Sure, when you were in school, people called you a mutant and you went home and cried. But cheer up, maybe you can go to a special school and have lots of friends like the mutants in number 4's X-Men.
X-Men Arcade was pretty cool because you had a lot of characters. The cast of characters was pretty deep. You had Cyclops, you had Wolverine, you had Storm, I think you had Gambit and Nightcrawler. It was a good lineup, and it was pretty deep, and it took a lot of quarters.
Who would have thought that such a great game would come from such an obscure franchise that almost nobody has ever heard of? Throughout history, there have been many influential showdowns. Brown versus the Board of Education, Roe versus Wade, Paris versus Nicole, and most importantly, Marvel versus Capcom. It's at number 3.
Marvel vs. Capcom is probably one of the most brilliant bringings together of entities and comic book universes. I still play that game. I love it. It's awesome. Who doesn't want to fight? Like Cammy versus Wolverine?
With so many great matchups to make in Marvel vs. Capcom, it's way better than Joe versus the volcano. Marvel vs. Capcom is fun, but for my money, nothing beats classic Illustrated versus Nintendo. You haven't lived until you've played Mario against Miss Havisham from Great Expectations. And elsewhere in the funny pages, tech reporter Jonh Walsh hit this year's Comic-Con International and showed off some home improvement gadgets to the fanboys.
I'm here at Comic-Con in San Diego, California, and the crowds are a little hairy at times, so fortunately, I brought some protection. This week's Geek Tested Nerd Approved gadget package includes the Straight Line Laser Level 120, which throws a virtual chalk line over any surface and even around corners. And the Straight Line Electronic Rolling Tape, because standard tape measures are so 20th century. And have we had any pixie dust this morning?
Yes.
Naked Fat Rave is just a spot where really great artists come together and promote their work.
Interestingly, there's usually a Naked Fat Rave at my place every night. It's it's kind of it's a one-man rave. Guess what it is?
It's a leveler with a ruler attached to it.
It looks like a level.
If you're hanging pictures in the Fortress of Solitude and you want to make sure they're level, instead of snapping a chalk line out across your little home improvement projects, you can just project a laser.
Right.
So you can mark off so that all the pictures are perfectly even.
Perfect.
You could like do some carpentry in a club at night and they'll be like if you're drunk and you're flying home from a little like fairy rave or something. Right in the eye, thanks. I found him! I found him! Hello! You're coming with me, pal. What powers in addition to Superman's own do you have?
Telekinesis, Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense?
Yes.
Good.
And the power to control minds.
Really?
Yes.
Hey, what superhero do you think I look like?
Superman?
Wow. Nice.
Or the Hulk?
This guy reminds you of Ben Grimm.
Open up those eyes real wide. Stick out that tongue. Yeah, that's a toad, all right. Yeah, that's definitely toad.
I do have yours. Hey, this guy's got yours. Right on, man.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, do you think, would that get me into school?
No.
This is a straight line. Digitally record in sequential order the surfaces that you've measured. See, what you do is you roll it along a flat surface.
I don't need this. I jumped through time.
You jumped through time? Wow. What's the latest home improvement project you tackled at the Fortress of Solitude?
Plumbing.
Plumbing?
Oh, yes.
My roots grew out of my head. I'm back. We're ready to do this, man.
Yeah.
Woo, what's happening, boys?
You know, I've been collecting these Funko bobbleheads for years. They're really fun. What?
I mean, no offense, but your head is so, well, how do I say that? I mean, you would make a great bobblehead. Your head is perfect for a bobblehead.
Thanks. Yes, I still do. And that's all from Comic-Con 2005 here in San Diego, California. Hog sandwich, I'm the meat! Today I am a man.
Hunk sandwich, you got that from me. Okay, well, we're going off the rails on a filter train with more comic book games after this, but first, hey, what's that crap you're listening to? This week, we're tapping into iTunes' top 5 electronic downloads. The number 5 spot is Bangin' with Bang Gang's I Like to Move It. And if we only had a way to figure out what love is, we do, it's number 4. Imogen Heap's Playing Games Again, Hide and Seek is number 3. It's no surprise that Paul Oakenfold's Starry Eyes landed 2nd. And the French robot duo are at it again. Daft Punk's Technologic is number 1 this week.
Do you take it to the rack or the hole?
You know what? I go to both of them. I believe you can go to the rack and I believe you can go to the hole. The main thing is finishing. Once you get to the rack or the hole, you must be able to finish. And that's what's extremely important, is to finish.
For more life lessons, check out Coach Carter on DVD this week. Oh, what a long, strange countdown it's been. We've laughed, we've cried, we've made some memories along the way. We sure have shared some times, haven't we? Yes, indeed. Proving that slinging webs is much better than slanging yayo, Spider-Man for the Super Nintendo comes in at 10th. Captain America and the Avengers refuse to drive a hybrid car to the 9th spot. It just wouldn't suit them. Supplying the largest possible amount of carnage that we allow on this countdown is Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. It's at 8th. 4 anthropomorphic reptiles with artsy names and a giant rat made it to 7th place with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Who knew? At number 6, the Punisher doles out an even harsher punishment than the nuns at your Catholic boys' school. And this week, Batman begins to move towards the top of our countdown, but only makes it to 5th place. You can X the number 4 spot off the countdown, it's taken by the X-Men. And unlike Tyson vs. Holyfield, the ever-popular Marvel vs. Capcom won't leave you with an ear missing. It's in 3rd. In this week's Filter Face-Off, the natural-born freaks of Professor X's elite academy take on an irradiated arachnid from Queens. You won't need your spidey senses to know that it's time for another Filter Face-Off, this time between a legendary spider and a league of extraordinary X-Men. This week, Peter Parker picked a pack of pretty pixels in the sequel to the first Spider-Man game based on the new movies. It's time to take your Dramamine.
Spider-Man 2 was great. The whole swinging motion was just flawless. I mean, they totally captured the way Spider-Man swings through the city. And I would find myself just swinging around and just, checking out the views.
Legend has it that X-Men Legends is one heck of a third-person 3D action RPG. What's more, the bulk of the X-Men are on hand to take care of the baddies in this game, which should give Professor Xavier plenty of time for his hair plug appointments.
But X-Men Legends, it was such a deep game because it was a strategy game, but it was like an RPG, it was an action game, it was so visual, and like they had special powers and massive explosions, and it was just wicked, it was just badass.
So, what was your vote? One amazing man or a whole group of uncanny ones? Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
It was so well done. I mean, they really raised the bar on comic book games. Artistically, the game was, graphically, it was beautiful.
There just isn't a can of Raid big enough to stop this spider. Spider-Man 2 proves its worth amongst all the other comic book franchise cash-ins. I hope you enjoyed our look at your favorite comic book video games. Until next time, I'm Diane Mizota reminding you that with great power comes great responsibility and one hell of a utility bill.